I inherited thousands of acres of private hunting land that had belonged to my family for generations. The property sat peacefully in rural America, untouched and legally documented. After spending years away, I finally returned home to take care of the land. I had no idea an HOA had already made plans for my property. Strange construction trucks began appearing near the northern entrance of my land. Heavy machinery echoed through the trees early every morning. None of the workers ever asked for my permission. Something illegal was happening on my property. Curious and concerned, I decided to investigate the construction site myself. What I discovered immediately shocked me. Luxury cabin foundations stretched across my hunting land. HOA development signs were everywhere. I pulled out my county property records that had been stored in my family for decades. Every legal document clearly showed that I owned the entire parcel. The HOA never purchased a single acre of my land. They simply built on it without verifying ownership. I immediately hired one of the best real estate attorneys in the county. Together, we reviewed every permit and construction document. The HOA's paperwork contained major legal mistakes. Their entire luxury development was built on false assumptions. I decided not to stop the construction immediately. Instead, I documented everything happening on my land. Every luxury cabin added more evidence against the HOA. Their biggest mistake was underestimating the property's owner. Construction continued for several months without interruption. Millions of dollars were invested into the project. The HOA proudly advertised their exclusive hunting resort community. They still had no idea who truly owned the land. Curious neighbors began asking me why I wasn't stopping the project. I simply smiled and told them I had a plan. Sometimes patience is the most powerful legal strategy. The larger the project became, the larger their problem would be. My attorney advised me to let the paperwork speak for itself. Every permit filed by the HOA strengthened my future case. County records continued confirming my ownership rights. We patiently prepared for the perfect moment. Nearly a year later, 14 luxury cabins stood proudly on my hunting property. The HOA announced its grand opening celebration. Wealthy buyers arrived from across the state. That's when I decided it was finally time. The grand opening weekend attracted investors and vacation home buyers. The HOA officials proudly showcased their newest development. They celebrated profits that legally belonged to no one but themselves. Their celebration was about to end. My attorneys filed emergency foreclosure notices with the county clerk's office. Every document had been thoroughly reviewed and approved. The legal process officially began that morning. The HOA had no idea what was coming. HOA board members received certified legal notices during their grand opening event. Smiles instantly turned into confusion and panic. Their attorneys rushed to review the documents. The entire crowd fell silent. Their lawyers immediately contacted county officials. Unfortunately for them, county records were perfectly clear. Every acre legally belonged to me. There was no legal loophole to save them. HOA leadership offered to purchase the land after discovering their mistake. Their offer came far too late. They had ignored ownership records for nearly a year. I politely declined their proposal. The county temporarily suspended all future property sales. Buyers immediately began demanding refunds. Investors threatened legal action against the HOA. Financial chaos spread throughout the development. News stations began covering the unbelievable property dispute. Reporters described it as one of the largest HOA mistakes in county history. Cameras filled the grand opening event. The HOA quickly became the center of public attention. The HOA's insurance company refused to cover their legal mistakes. Construction losses continued growing every day. Millions of dollars were suddenly at risk. Panic meetings were held late into the night. My legal team filed additional property claims protecting every structure on my land. Ownership rights extended to every cabin built illegally. The HOA finally realized the seriousness of the situation. Their development legally stood on my property. County inspectors arrived to evaluate the entire development. Every cabin was photographed and documented. Legal ownership became impossible to dispute. The evidence overwhelmingly supported my case. Several investors filed lawsuits against the HOA board. Buyers accused them of negligence and fraud. Their dream development quickly became a legal disaster. The financial consequences were devastating. The court officially recognized my ownership of the entire property. Every document presented support of my claim. The HOA lost nearly every legal argument. Their options were rapidly disappearing. Foreclosure proceedings officially moved forward. The luxury cabins were now considered assets tied to my property rights. The HOA desperately attempted one final appeal. IT failed almost immediately. Sheriff's deputies arrived to enforce the court's orders. HOA representatives were instructed to vacate the property. Buyers were informed of the legal outcome. Ownership of the development officially changed. Standing on my land once again, I looked across all 14 luxury cabins. Justice had finally prevailed through patience and proper legal action that MY family's hunting property was protected for future generations. The HOA learned an expensive lesson about respecting property rights.